want to start with just an opening statement?
Well, I'm extremely excited for the season. We've been working really hard all summer, and now basketball's finally here. So we're still recruiting, but now it's time to take care of your team. So it's great to have a good time on the court with our team.
When was the last time you were here
In this room? Oh, I don't a long time. Like I don't even know. A long time. Yep, probably too long ago.
How do you feel about where the team's at through a few practices? I mean, the game around the corner. How you kind of feeling right now?
Really good. We've been working really well. I think it was great to have some time with them in the summer because everything's not brand new, but they've been really bought in. They're excited. They're feeling a lot more confident. So it's just one day at a time, one practice at a time. We have a system now where we're ranking practice. So that's been kind of just a way to kind of keep the level high at every single practice. So that's been working. But overall, I'm very impressed with the first 6 days.
You made mention that they bought in early on.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a particular moment during the summer where you sit back and you're like, you know what, we're on the same page now?
I think, I started to see that more off the court. I think the first day when I walked in and the first off the court thing we did, to see that and then to see where we are now, that's been the biggest change. I think that's where it all has to start off the court. But on the court, I think I've been really, really excited. The first day, I told them, I was a player. I know how it feels. I know how the first day of practice is or the first day of training camp. Or I said, hey, I know it's adrenaline and nerves. Don't worry. Take a deep breath, one day at a time. And just to see the progress from day one till day 5 was good. So that's promising, and I think it's they're working the right way. I think they all make a joke about how much offense they've been working on because they worked on a lot of defense before. So I think they're having fun, and it's something new, and new is always good and exciting.
What was that off the court stuff that?
It's funny because I don't think team building is one day ropes course. I think it is an everyday process. So we were eating Bear Down Kitchen together. And when the first day that I went there, no one spoke. I was like, wow. I was like, we don't speak, And I think it was just new. And they're probably like, why is my coach eating breakfast with me? This is weird. The staff. But then after that, to see us now and to see us interact and talk, it's not like assigned seating. The first week, it was assigned seating, just natural. So I was always like, hey, is that seat assigned? Let me just move on in there. You move down there, And then now it's everybody's talking and interacting, and it's great to see. They've probably done more team stuff in the last 2 months than they did probably in the last couple of years. So, because I think they just enjoy being around each other now.
Was that something that you actually pointed out to them? Why is no one talking?
Well, not the first day, because the first day I was sitting there whoa, this is going to be long. But after that, I do point that out, and I pointed some stuff out last night. We do a lot of different things, and I've pointed it out a lot because it's that positive reinforcement, and it's very important to be a successful team. You have got to be able to communicate, respect each other off the court. You have to. It's just they're directly correlated. I think it's very rare that you can just not talk and then talk on the court. That's I think that happens sometimes in the professional level, but I think at this level you got to be able to have some sort of relationship, and we're building that, and it's been good. I'm pleasantly surprised.
So communication has been a priority then?
Yes, communication, nonverbal and verbal, has been something I really emphasize. So I think this first few months, it's just emphasizing your standards and what's important. And to me, nonverbal body language is very important. Verbal is too, but how I pointed out last night, we had a team event at my house and touching each other. And it's touches, it's high fives, it's hitting each other on the shoulder, it's a hug, it's the little things that you celebrate when something great happens. And I think they're enjoying that more, but it's very important for a successful team. You gotta be when someone dives on the floor, you gotta run over there and pick them up. You have to be excited about that great play they made. So I try to point those things out daily, so I'm reinforcing those little things that are really important to be a successful team.
Coach, what are your thoughts on Bria Rice and what she means to the team? And can you touch a little bit on her transition from Colorado after the coaching change to currently?
Yeah, so Bria Rice, I've known Bria since she was in 7th grade from Seattle, obviously. She used to come to Storm camps when I was a Storm player and stuff like that. So long relationship with her and her family. Bria went through a very difficult thing. It's hard when you go through any kind of transition. You're set to go to one school, coaching change, that's hard. Especially when her best friend was also going there too. So that was a difficult transition for her, but Bria's a great addition to the team. She's a great culture kid. She is a great person. She's a great student. She's a tenacious defender. She's just someone you want to go to war with. And so I'm happy she's here. She's getting straight A's. So I don't have to worry about her off the court. That's an important piece too. I mean, I'm trying to establish a culture, so little things are very important to me. So her transition's been great. It is a transition from high school to college, so it's hard for a freshman. She's working daily, she's working extra, and she has to, because this is a tough level. The Pac-12 is the toughest league in the world, so or in the country. But she's gonna have to work at it daily and continue to develop offensively, and she's coming along.
Can you touch a little bit more on the academic part? Because I know she had a lot of high honors when she was in high school, and I think she's a medical major as well.
Yeah, it's not technically declared yet, but yeah, great student. But she's one of those kids, and as you're establishing a new culture, I think that you don't want to have to worry about those things. I don't want to have to chase everybody to class, and that's just not the stuff that I want to worry about. Basketball, and yes, you focus on those things, but it's not like a grueling daily thing. And she's a kid; I don't ever have to worry about that. We still check classes just because we're still gonna do it. But she's like a 3.4 right now. She's straight A's in the summer, and that's the transition that's usually the hardest academically, but it's not a problem for her. So I don't ever question her work ethic on and off the court. And she's been a great addition to this team. She's always the first and to volunteer to help recruiting. So all that stuff's really important when you're changing a culture and you're building a program.
You have a pretty big senior class. How important are they to a transition to a new coach, especially?
Well, they're very important because they're your leadership. Players like LB are invaluable. She is a leader, like in vocally, but sometimes just by work ethic. Very important because with senior leadership, they have to have the right leadership. And, 6 seniors, like you said, is a lot. And it's also hard for them. You've been with one coach for 3 years. You have a new coach your last year. That's not easy. So I am sensitive to that, but they've been all great. I have had no problems.
Coach, what are your thoughts on the non-conference schedule coming into this year? I think you guys have Kansas on the roster, but outside of that, most of the teams are a little lower tier Division I schools. Can you touch on that?
Well, this year I had no control over the roster. So when I got the job, we were missing a lot of games. So it was like scramble to fix the roster, and it was hard, or fix the schedule. So that was like out of my control. But Kansas, New Mexico, and USD will be our tougher opponents, but we'll schedule a lot differently next year. So it was kind of late, and it was kind of like, whoa, so.
When you say schedule differently, you mean add bigger name teams or?
Just we have a plan. And so I guess, for example, we're already done, except for like one game with next year's schedule. When I got the job, we didn't have 7 games. So that was April. So it was like, whoa. I was like, seriously? I was kind of like, excuse me? But that's just, it is what it is. And you have to, scheduling is one of the most important things in a program. It's really important it's strategic. And the Pac-12 is very competitive, so you want to strategically get some really important wins and get what you need. So you have to be smart about that.
How would you describe the style of team that's going to show up in that first game, either offense, defense, mindset? I mean, how would you describe what you want from this team?
We want to play fast, tough, but smart. And you'll know a plan and what we're trying to do. So definitely identifiable and a lot of freedom, but then there's going to be structure. So just fun and fast, but just out of control in the plan. We're not going to be a 40 minutes of full court defense. We're not. We're going to run the pack line. So Sean Miller and the men's team run the pack line. There's been a lot of success with the pack line, but you'll be able to see what we're trying to do, and it's going to be evident. And we're going to have a plan and execute the plan.
How do you balance freedom and structure?
Practice, a lot of practice. You just have to. We're doing a lot of teaching right now. We're teaching. So if you're going to give some freedom with the structure, you have to teach people how to play basketball. You have to teach how to read and stuff like that. So we're working on a lot of counter stuff. So if this is the play, this is the structure of it. But if they take this away, you have to read. But you have to teach that stuff. So we are teaching and doing fundamentals daily. You have to learn how to play basketball. If they cheat over the middle, you have to know how to fade. But you got to teach those things. You can't assume people know it. So we've been teaching a lot of basic fundamentals that just weren't really evident when we got here. And not good or bad, just different. And You know, I want to give freedom. I think I'm a player's coach. I want you to be able to, when we can attack, we have great athletes, I want you to be able to attack. But I want you to have a plan. If you can't attack, here's a secondary action. So we've been working a lot on that. And I think daily fundamentals are something that a lot of teams don't do. So we are doing that and building that in daily. And right now I have to build it in. So long term, the culture I'll create is where I don't have to build it in, where there's 11 o'clock practice, you're coming at 10 and working on your game. Or you're coming at 10:30 after class. But right now it's something that I build in, and I'm fine with that. So we're doing daily, where it's called our daily dose. It's 30 minutes of individual skill work every day before practice. So I'm fine with building that in as long as we do it.
So then it sounds like, I mean, for the most part, you have to take a step back and really return to those basics.
Yes, which isn't a bad thing. I think a lot of people and a lot of staffs don't know how to teach those basics. So you got to know how to do it, and you got to value it, and then the player's going to value what you value. So they're going to do the standards that you set, and I think now it's been fun. So I want it to be, you come and it's not like, oh, practice. I want it to be like, oh, I'm going to go get my daily dose and I'm going to go get my skill work, and I want it to be fun. I want it to be a great environment where there's music and it's exciting. It's not like, oh, you know, so I want the players to value getting better, to see the improvement, to know like this coach is making me better. And I think with that, then you grow as a team.
That's all part of building a culture, but how much of that is actually on the individual player to really want that themselves?
A lot. But I think that you got to show it away. You got to show why it's valuable. And I think that you put that on the player, but also players want to get better. Players generally want to please their coach, and they want to have fun, and you want to win. So I think that showing the success and kind of you got to bring people along. So maybe that's not the culture now, but it will be. Or you get 2 or 3 players to start doing it, then 4 or 5, then the other ones are like, I'm not going to be the only 5 that aren't. So it just becomes contagious. And at Washington, we were able to do the same thing. It wasn't, when we first walked into Washington, that wasn't the culture. And then it became the norm. So I think you build that, and you recruit your future players to want it to be hungry for success. Like they want to do it. And I think it's all a part of that. But you show the way, and players want to improve, and they want to work on their game. So if you're a coach that's making your player better, you know, players are going to be excited, and that's what confidence is. And a lot of this game is confidence and mental.
What are your expectations for Taryn, and what kind of role she'll play for you guys?
Taryn, she's been doing great. She's been not in full, but she's in a lot of full stuff, but just not the full practice. My expectations, we need Taryn. She's one of our best shooters. She's smart, and unfortunately for Taryn, she's never had an off season since her sophomore year in high school. So for her to be able to even feel good right now, her knees felt the best it's felt in a long time. So she's taking one day at a time, but she'll be valuable at the 1 or the 2. I mean, she's someone who brings us a great three-point shot. So I want to be able to play her on the ball or off the ball, with the ball or off the ball. So she'll be a big piece of the puzzle. And now it's just maintaining her and keeping her healthy.
What are you hoping to get out of Sharice Holloway this season?
Sharice, she is a fierce competitor. She's tough. She's working herself into better shape. She's worked really hard this summer. She's someone who can play different positions. So I think she can post up mismatches. She has a good shot. And she goes after it, and I like that. I love that. I don't have to extract that out of her. She has it day in and day out. So I expected her to come here and be ready to play and contribute. I have had not one thing bad to say about Sharice. So I think that's another thing. When you come to a program, you know, you hear all these things, and there's different, this person. I don't know. So I just kind of take it, and I said, hey, you have a clean slate. I'm not judging from before. Everybody here, I'm judging you from how I feel about you and how our relationship's established from day one. So Sharice has been great for me. It is opposite from what I thought. It truly is. And I was skeptical at first, what's going on? But it has been great. She's been working hard. She's been really passionate. And you know what she's really shown me, which people probably wouldn't have thought this, but she showed tremendous leadership, and she's been a leader in the locker room. And I was happy to see that because, I did hear about different things, or, you hear about her not being a part of the team last year, but she's been great for me. And I'm not just saying that because here, she truly has been. And so that's been pleasant to see because she wants it. And also, she's told me a few times that she's learned. It's hard when you get something you love taken away from you, you learn and you grow a lot. And I tell her, hey, you should have saw me from my freshman year to my junior. I was a lot different too. So I understand, like, things happen, and, you know, she's been great for me.
How did Christine Clark become part of your staff?
Christine Clark she was recruited by Kelly at Harvard, and Christine was one of those people who was really interested, came in here, and I honestly, I didn't really have a position for Christine, so, but I did like that she was a former basketball player, she was at Harvard, she's great in the community, so I did like all these other things. But then when I met Christine, after she walked out, so when I interviewed her at first, I was like, oh, I don't really have a spot. Maybe in the future, she might go still play pro basketball. But then after she left my office, I was like, I like her. I was like, she reminded me a lot of me. She was hungry. She was like confident what she was doing. She was determined. So she left, and I kind of, you know, it was right when we first got the job. A lot was going on. And then she was persistent after, and I said, you know what, I'm going to give her a chance. And I created something for her and found a position, and she's someone I want to keep around, and she's been incredible. She not only is in touch with the community, she was invaluable with our camp this summer. It was our first camp, and it was last second. She was great. She's one of those people that put their head down and just grind. She's brilliant. Obviously, you know, she went to Harvard, and so she had to be pretty smart. But she gets it. She's going to be a great coach one day. She's at every practice. She's in our meetings. She does stuff behind the scenes. So I am very, very happy that she's a part of our staff. Now I just got to fight to keep her. So,
Coach, you guys are a little bit undersized coming into the season, obviously. And, how do you plan to combat that during the year, and what are your plans moving forward in terms of recruiting?
So to combat that this year, I just have to keep in perspective that they are also hard to guard. So while we are undersized at 6'1", 6'2", people have to step out and guard them. So really, Brittany's a great three-point shooter, and she's great facing up. So using them in a lot of different roll and rise situations, using them to pop and extend the defense, and they really have great chemistry when they play together. Working on Bree with being able to, she can shoot the three, but having more confidence and being consistent, because then it just spreads the floor and it gives us more driving gaps. But you have to play a little faster with that, and then they'll just pull bigger players away from the basket. We have a good plan defensively. We aren't on the line, up the line. We're more, you know, we're in the gaps because we're going to play pack line. So, you know, we'll have help when we need it. It'll just be game specific. And as far as recruiting next year, we have some size. So I have a 6'5" kid. I can't say the name. A 6'5" kid we already have a commitment from, and a 6'4" athlete we have a commitment from. So I've kind of taken care of that. I know we need size, but I'll probably try to get another 4 also.
Will you be incorporating any type of full court pressure because of your size?
We will a little bit, but it won't be like 40 minutes of it. But we're going to have to be creative. We're going to have to mix things up. So we'll play a little 2-3. We'll play a little buzz defense, and we'll have a couple presses, just because we'll have to change the game a little bit.
How difficult was it on the recruiting trail, trying to sell a program that, one, you've never been a part of from this point of view, and you've had some time between the last time you were here and now?
Yeah, a long time. You know what? I really thought it would be. I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult than now, because I was hearing, oh, it's hard. You know, you don't get a lot of people on campus, this and that. We didn't have a problem. We had a lot of relationships with a lot of different coaches, a lot of different programs, a lot of different international ties. So it's been better than I anticipated my first year, because usually it's very hard your first season or first 2 classes, hard to recruit because of they look at the previous success. But we've gotten some kids that would not have considered Arizona before. So that was promising. That was saying, hey, and you know, it takes 1 or 2 great kids, and then it can be an avalanche. But it's been well. It's been really good. We've had a lot of kids on campus, a lot. We've had a lot of visits. We're going to use all of our visits. So there isn't a problem recruiting at all. We were able last year to get Bria Rice, we talked about, and Lucia. Those were 16s that were added late, because when I got this job, there were no 16s. So these are all our recruiting database. The kids I'm recruiting from Washington, I mean, I'm recruiting them here. So, you know, it's just a lot of great kids were on their top list. And this goes for 17, 18, 19, 20 class, too. So we were way behind on 16, a little behind on 17. So it's been good. We already have 4 commitments. And then on 18, we're catching up. On 19, we'll be ahead. So it takes a couple of years to really, you know, get your roster in.
What are your thoughts on the in-state talent at the high school level? And I see you only have one player from Arizona on the roster in Evans. Do you plan to maybe venture in more to the high schools here in Arizona?
Yes.
And is the talent really equitable to what you need?
You can't only recruit Arizona and have a successful program. You just can't. But the first thing I'll do, you always take care of your backyard first. So we have a different recruiting philosophy. We have our footprint. So you always recruit the best kids in your state no matter what. So we're visible at stuff. And some of that is, and just when you're a good recruiter, you have to know some of it's not always now. It's maybe later. It's showing the A on your chest at different events so they know you're supporting. But you have to support and recruit the kids here. No doubt. There is some talent. In the 18 class in particular, there's a lot of talent in Arizona. And it's tough because a lot of Arizona kids, they want to go out of Arizona. They want to have different weather, different experience, so it's hard. But you got to try, and you got to get some of those kids. The other thing you have to do is, and one of the reasons why I even came to Arizona as a player, it was 5-6 hours from California. You have got to be able to recruit California. And then you can go into Texas and some other things. Then we're trying to, I think the thing is, you have to recruit in your area. You have to recruit the places you have connections. So Washington's not that close, but I recruited there for a long time. I have great relationships, so I'll continue to recruit there. Internationally, we'll recruit. We're recruiting from Italy, France, Australia. And those are from connections. So you have to use your connections. But if you look at who we've got even commitments from, I can't say the names obviously, but none of those kids are close. So the closest is, there's a Washington, there's a Florida, there's Oklahoma, and there's Chicago. So none of those kids are close. They're very far from home, but those are just goes back to relationships. But yes, I will most definitely. We're having a lot of kids in state on campus. People are excited about the program again. That's what I like. For us to be leading the Pac-12 in season tickets sold, that's saying a lot. So it's exciting. We're getting some momentum, so we have to capitalize on that.
What steps are you taking to get the outside community more involved in the basketball program?
Well, so the first step I took was I don't know how visible we were before. So the first thing I did is all summer. Last year, the team had, I believe, 96 hours the whole year. So in the summer alone, we had 128 community hours. So the first thing I did was I implemented 2 days a week us to go out in the community. So it was 2 days a week going to, and I said, hey, I wanted to send the kids to where they're passionate about. So if you love the Boys and Girls Club, we went there. Humane Society, whatever they wanted, we did different things. So I started with that because I know it's important. The other things I'm doing is just different events. We had like bowling with the cats, and that was great. We had like just some radio shows. We're having a barbecue that's going to be released this week. Just different things to get the community in touch with us and create relationships. I think that's very important. And I learned that as a WNBA player. WNBA is the best at marketing off of a small budget. So just doing that, getting out there, getting visible, creating relationships, letting people have ownership in your program. And I think that's what's worked, and that's why we sold the most season tickets. It's been really good. And, are we going to get 14,000 the first year? Probably not, but am I going to work for it? Heck yeah. I'm competitive. It may take some time, but, it's baby steps, and I think it's exciting. This community wants to have a successful women's program, and they will support. And the bottom line is you win more, you get more fans. So that's the reality.
Of all those moments during the summer, what was most memorable?
One of the most memorable moments, you're talking about in community service?
Or otherwise?
Otherwise, our team retreat was very memorable. We actually, I surprised them. I told the players that we were going on a 5-mile hike, and at this time it was like 105 degrees. And we were driving up for the hike, and they were like, Coach, it's 100 degrees. And we're like, kind of in the mountains. We're like in Oro Valley. And they were like, how are we going to go hiking 100 degrees? I was like, oh, you're tough. We're fine. And then we drove up to the top of the hill, and there was zip lining. So we went zip lining, but they were so excited. I was trying to do something different that kind of got their attention. It was great. It was and it was team building, but fun, So we had, after the zip lining, we had this bungee course where all the players had to help each other up, and you had to like lift the other player up the bungee cord. That was great. And then after that, so I had told them not only were we going hiking in the mountains in 100-degree weather, but I told them that we were going to sleep in tents. Well, most of my players have never been camping. And so on the schedule, I put a picture of a bobcat. This probably wasn't that nice, but put a picture of the bobcat and then put a picture of like not a real tent. Nowadays tents are nice. It was like an old school, like little raggedy tent. And so that was on the calendar. So they were like, they all had like group text talking about how scared they were. They all had like bug spray and sleeping bags. And then we drive up and it's like this huge cabin. It's like a 3-story cabin. And so it was really awesome to see their response. They had never done anything like that. Most of them had never ziplined. They had never like did this bungee jump. And then at the cabin we had a chef come. He taught us how to make gnocchi, which is an Italian dish. So things that were different, but they loved it. It was really memorable, and I really saw the change in the team after that. So for me to be able to expose these players to different things and to build stuff off the court, it's great because I think that's what this experience is about. It's more than basketball, and I think it's been really good for them.
Zip line up at Oracle?
Yeah, it was great. If you guys never done it, you need to do it. It's fun. It was really fun.
Where was the cabin?
The cabin was in Mount Lemon, so we had to go, like genius planning. We had to go from Oro Valley, but there's like some back road. You guys probably know, but I heard it's like driving through Afghanistan, so we didn't do that. So we were like scared. Some of the cars didn't have 4 wheels, so we had to drive like an hour, and then we drove like 2 hours from there. It's all the way back through the city to Mount Lemon, but it was worth it. It was awesome. So they did a lot of different stuff. They talk about it still. It's all over social media, all the pictures, but it was good.
One more? Anybody got one more? All right. Thank you, Coach.
Good. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.